So today we're going to be talking about Oscar, which is an open source CPAP analysis reporter. Basically what it lets you do is it lets you take the data from your CPAP machine and analyze it in much greater detail. This is free and it's available for all the major operating systems. Now, unless you have a travel CPAP machine, most CPAP machines inside have a slot for a chip. So this is our CPAP machine. We're just going to open this up. And inside this compartment, there's usually going to be, on mine anyway, there's a filter, and then there's a little hole right here, and there's a chip you can just pop out. Your machine probably does not include a chip. So I'm going to show you what you can do. These are pretty cheap. These are called just SD cards, the full-size ones. This is a mini one with an adapter. These are usually pretty cheap. You can get them for $5 to $10 on eBay. You may have one of these cards lying around if you have an old camera. But see, this one has the smaller card and then just the adapter. So if you have one of these smaller chips that used to go into the phones, you can just buy the adapters. Are pretty cheap and you can put them in. And we are also going to need a reader, unless you have an older computer that can read this, because this fits into a USB or a USB-C. And on the side it has the hole so you can put the chip in, and then we can plug this into a computer. And this one also has the micro on the side. So now we're going to go to the website, download the program, install it, and then we're going to open it up. Now the first time you use it, it's going to ask you to create a profile. That's going to pop up automatically, but we're going to kind of simulate that. So it's going to pop up a window that looks like this. You can fill out various information like your weight, your height, stuff like that. And then we're going to double click on this. And it's going to open up this screen, which is your main screen. And then you can just click in import CPAP data under file in the upper left corner. And then we're going to plug in our adapter into the computer. And it's going to ask us to import, which I can't do because I already have two things plugged into my computer ports right now. But it's going to ask you to import, and then you're going to find your SD card. The first time you do this, you just click on the USB. Future times, it'll find it automatically. And then it will say it imported the sessions in the upper right-hand corner. And so it's going to give you a number of options. The daily is where you can look at the detailed data day by day. I'm not going to bore you with too much of the details of what it tells you, but we're going to go over some of the basics. So it shows every single event that happened. It shows your obstructive apneas, and here's a summary in the left corner here. Obstructive apneas, the most severe type, hypopnea, the lesser type, also your flow limitations, type below that. The variable breathing, where you're not breathing with the machine. If you're snoring, clear airway, where your brain forgets to breathe, forgets to send the signal to breathe, and large leaks if you have a major problem. So some of the things I look at, I don't really look at the daily basis anymore because I'm more at the stage where I'm looking at the summary. But some interesting notes is you can see the flow rate, whether it's fairly normal or not. You can look at the pressure and how your pressure changes over the course of the night. You can look at your leak rate. As long as it's not too far above this red line, you're usually doing okay. And you can look at your HI, all this other stuff. And if you have problems understanding all this, I would just take a screenshot and plug this all into Gemini. And Gemini will explain to you what everything means in great detail, the wonders of AI. You can unclick or click your sessions, shows your device settings. And you can also go look at the individual events. Let's say I want to look at some of my obstructive apneas. It will pull all of that up. And here's the, just to show you what a apnea looks like. Basically, your airway completely collapses and you flatline. Not great. And if you ever want to go back to the full time scale, all you have to do is under a little bit kind of under where statistics is, you just click on this arrow the rightmost arrow, and it will move it back to the full time view. So I'm mostly looking at the overview. So you can click and you can drag and you can look at, say, the past 30 days, and I can see here what my average AHI, it breaks it down by hypopneas, obstructive apneas, and clear airways. We can also see our usage, how many hours of time that we used in the machine in that day. We can also see the session times. You know, did you take the mask off in the middle of the night, or were you consistent? And this just shows you your pressure levels over time, kind of gives you a color visual of where we're at for most of the night. And as I scroll down, I don't see as much useful data. And your statistics kind of shows you the big picture. You can look at your last 30 days, how compliant you are with insurance requirements, your average hours a night. This shows your change device settings. I mostly hack the device settings myself by going into provider mode, although it's pretty well dialed in now. So it'll show you exactly what settings were changed and what the impact of changing those settings were. So while the default apps give you a lot of information, I really like the clarity and detail that Oscar provides. I use it on a semi-daily basis now, and eventually I'll probably only be using it on a weekly basis to keep track of my sleep apnea.